There is a grazing law in Nigeria, or should I say anti-grazing law. And the question that I want each and every one of us listening this evening, morning, afternoon, and depending on where you are, to ponder is this: why is that law not being enforced? Do you know the funniest thing about this very anti-grazing law is that this law came into existence at the height of the war of Biafra and Nigeria. So nobody could possibly accuse the judge that delivered the ruling of any bias. There's also something called tort law, where I think it's T-O-R-T. I'm not a lawyer, but I did an elective course in law in those days at now London Metropolitan University. There's something called tort law. Tort law is a law that even a mad person ought to know about. Let me give you a very simple example this evening for us to properly put into context what is happening in the zoo between law-abiding citizens and Fulani killer headsmen. I want to put it to you this way. You are a businessman, or maybe you are a homeowner, you are a father or you are a mother, and you have children, and you have a house or a home. And one morning, I decided to come to your house to take your pot of soup, or your pot of stew, or your pot of rice or beans or a wedu or whatever it is, without your permission or consent. What are you expected to do under such circumstance? This is the food you have been cooking to feed your children. All of a sudden, this stranger walks into your home and decides to make away with your pot of soup. What are you expected to do? Now, some people who are not educated, some people who are very foolish in their disposition, some people who are not, should I say, intelligent enough to reason through natural law and justice will say, oh, but there is no law guiding somebody stealing your pot of soup. Now, let me ask you, is there any law in Nigeria, against, or should I say, with any definite pronouncement on what should happen when somebody steals a pot of rice? For instance, is there any law in Nigeria that says when somebody comes to steal your pot of rice or pot of stew, this is what you're going to do? There is no law, but it's common sense. That is why it's called tort law. It's common sense. You should know that trespassing is evil. Do you know the funniest thing? The Fulanis, they knew about all of this. Very many years they've been planning to conquer each and every one of you without you knowing. It's a very stealthy, very subtle, should I say, approach, subterfuge. You will not know. They dangle one thing in front of you, maybe ethnicity or tribe or religion. As you're looking at it and hyperventilating, they are busy advancing their cause, which is this remorseless and relentless march to the Atlantic Ocean. Understand this very well. I will ask you again, go and check every written law or unwritten law in Nigeria. Is there any law that says I cannot steal your pot of soup? So because there is no law that specifically says you should not steal anybody's pot of soup or pot of ewedu or maybe gari outside, then I should go and take it. And if I come to your house trying to carry something, to steal your food items in your house or take it without your consent, what are you expected to do? The same thing applies to the law of trespass. It's called trespass. You are a farmer. You know, the funniest thing is that there was somebody, he was selling beer in Kano. He was doing business in Kano. This Hisba police raided his business premises and destroyed millions of naira worth of beverage, because beer is beverage after all. If you don't know, it's beverage. They destroyed it. They said they were enforcing Hisba, or should I say Islamic Sharia law in Kano. This man now returned to Isikwato and decided to go into farming. Having destroyed his livelihood in Kano, now the same Fulani headsmen came to Isikwato, went into his farm and destroyed his farm produce. What do you expect such people to do? Because I'm saying all of these things for the whole world to understand where our anger is stemming from. We hate injustice. There is palpable, should I say, ingrained injustice in Nigeria. There is something wrong with that very place. And that is what we are seeking to correct. Nothing more, nothing less. That there is injustice. They try to camouflage it. They try to I don't know how to put it. They try to sweep all these very thorny issues under the carpet. They think everybody is as stupid as they have rendered Hausa people. But we are not stupid. We are not daft. We are not useless. There is anti-grazing law in Nigeria. My question this evening is, why is it that the Fulani people who are ruling the zoo, why are they ignoring this very law that exists? Because Nigeria is a lawless country. That's why I call it a zoo. Tell me why a government should not obey the law. They have an attorney general who is a Fulani man. He could have advised them that there is a law in Nigeria banning the movement of cattle from one place to another, but he will not tell them because he himself is part of the wider Fulani Janjaweed agenda to try and conquer people who are daft enough not to understand their game plan. I want all of you to understand what I'm saying this evening very, very clearly. Understand me. It's because their intention is to conquer. They are not coming with AK-47 initially. They never came with it. They never came with any bombs. No. They came with cattle. And some of you may be wondering, how can people use cattle as an instrument of conquest? But that was the grand design of the Fulani, encouraged, of course, by the British, to come into our land with cattle. Claiming, oh, we have come to, our cattle is in the bush. Oh, you cannot move them from there. 1 or 2 months, they start to build at the round hut. You have seen the one that we are demolishing in Ebonyi State, or the round hut, and in Abia. And after a while, they have Sariki Opa, or Sariki Iza. And in the next 50 years, you're gone. And I keep saying this thing all the time to Nigerians. Why can't you people reason? Don't believe what we are telling you. Don't believe what I'm telling you. No, you don't have to. I'm only asking you to go and do a bit of, go back to history. I keep telling you all the time, say, just a little bit, just go to history for about 1 hour a day. Just go into your Google and say, what is the original name of Sokoto? They will tell you. Who are the owners of Sokoto? They will tell you these are Hausa people. They will tell you Sokoto is Gobe. Then you ask yourself, how did this name change from Gobe to Sokoto? It is exactly what is happening today. They move one cattle in, they move one Sariki in, they move one Malam in, and that's the end of you. And then you get an emirate. Is it not happening in Jos? They say they are praising, they are very clever people. They are praising Governor Lalong of Plateau State. Can't you see he's doing well? Because there is a, not even Sariki, there is an emir of Jos. These are the things you ought to understand. But they will come after you. They will try to inundate you with conflicting and confusing messages. If you are not strong, you fall for it. Please ask those from Auchi, when did Islam come to Auchi in Edo State? Go and ask. Like play. If you let us forget, Sokoto is too far, Kanu is too far, or Katsina is too far. Use Auchi that is close to home. Auchi, use Auchi as an example. In Edo State. Auchi in Edo State is almost Islamic. Edo, Igodomigodo. If you don't know, let me tell you. That is their game plan. What they intended to do was to dangle 2023 in front of you. He's going to the south. He's going to the west. He's going to the east. As you're busy preparing and salivating to enter into Asorok in 2023, before you wake up, they will tell you, oh, please be a good Nigerian. Don't evict those in your forest. They are there feeding their cattle. If not for the coming of IPOB, do you know what would have become of you? For everybody. I said everybody. If not for IPOB, all of you in the zoo would have been gone by now. What they want to do is to unleash mayhem by next year. So there will be no elections. Before you know it, Britain will step in and say, oh, but leave them now. After all, you have Igbo people in Sabongeri in Kano. Why don't you allow them to be in your forest in Okwa, in Ebonyi, in Anambra? Leave them now. Let them relax. Why don't they take over Edo State? Oh, leave them. In the next 50, 60 years, you are gone. Finished as a race. Ask yourself this question. Why must they conquer with their cattle? Under tort law, Google it, T-O-R-T. T-O-R for Romeo, T for Tango. Tort law. Under tort law, you don't even need to legislate about Fulani entering into your, because they have come to destroy your livelihood and your property. When somebody comes into your house to steal your flat screen TV, do you allow them to go free? Then why must they go to your farm and destroy your crops? When he said, it's hate speech, mind what you say. I say, are you a fool? Are you telling me I can drive pigs into the palace of the emir, or should I say the sultan of Sokoto, and they will allow you to go free? They're telling you, oh, we need to move cattle from place to place. Let us go and do piggery in the north. Let us go to Sokoto and do piggery now. And be rearing pigs very close to the palace of the sultan of Sokoto, and you see what will happen to everybody. Why must you then allow it to happen to you? Why must all of you allow Fulani to intimidate you all the time? They hire some idiots, both male and female idiots, loud-mouthed fools. All the time. All the time.